Shoot, lightning. You see that? Yeah.
12,000 feet over Africa, Randy McGehee and Dave Matheson are caught in a heavy storm. And their twin-engine Dornier is low on fuel.
Dude, we're in all sorts of trouble right now, man. I mean, wicked returns. I'm just punching us through it right now.
They started in Yellowknife, Canada. 8 fuel stops and 13,000 kilometers later, they're on the last leg of their mission, to deliver the Dornier to the United Nations in South Sudan.
This thing just came out of nowhere.
A storm eats up fuel. Randy and Dave have asked permission to fly around it. But in this part of Africa, nothing's that simple.
All right, Speed, come on, pick up now.
You know, man, storms in Africa are legendary, and this one doesn't look good.
When they left Egypt, they already knew fuel would be tight on this long last leg of their trip.
All right, man, fuel's critical. We need to take off.
202, request take position. We're ready to take off.
Negative.
All right.
Air traffic controllers refuse to let them take shortcuts over conflict zones.
Is there any chance you could approve us direct? Negative. What a dick. I say again, we will be fuel critical. It is imperative we get a straighter line than this. That means go ask your boss, diphead. I can't give you permission.
With less than an hour worth of fuel to spare, they push on through.
I've had to go pretty far off course. Actually, it's settling down better than I thought now, but the radar looks bad.
You'll get some more bumps coming up here, but it won't be nothing crazy.
Well, look at this, man. Now we're getting back on course here.
The storm blew out of nowhere. Now, just as suddenly, it's dying down.
It's gonna be awesome, man. We're gonna land in Juba, the newest country in the world after coming from the Arctic. That's pretty cool, man.
Totally. 6 years of work to get this thing to Juba.
The Dornier 228 is a heavy hauler that can land on the worst African dirt airstrips.
I'll be excited once we get there.
Hi guys.
How are you?
Welcome to Juba, South Sudan.
Thank you.
This is Carlos.
Hello.
Carlos, Randy.
Nice
to meet you.
Work especially with him and his people.
The plane will join the fleet of the United Nations World Food Program, transporting aid workers and supplies all over South Sudan.
This flight was like none other that I've ever done because I honestly believe this airplane being here is going to save people's lives, and it's going to help people and make their country better and make their lives better. And it meant something to me to be a part of that.
Randy and Dave's job is done. For the Dornier, the real work now begins, helping the world's newest country get on its feet. Back in the U.S., on the east coast of Florida,
Guaranteed? And if we don't?
boss Cory Bengtzen is busy lining up Randy's next job.
Whatever. Okay, bye. Now we can't leave tomorrow. We don't have insurance. They guaranteed me I'd have it yesterday, then they guaranteed me we have it today so we could leave tomorrow morning, and we can't go.
Cory's a pilot, but lately he's become a risk-taking entrepreneur, selling and delivering planes around the world.
Looks pretty good. It looks like they just updated and put a Garmin 530 in it, which is a much nicer GPS.
Cory has a lot riding on this delivery.
Oh, master on?
Yeah, master on.
For the second time in as many months, he's tackling the world's hottest market for small planes.
Brazil is really hot right now. Their economy's doing really well. There's a lot of people buying airplanes, so we put a big emphasis down there. It really gives us the edge, and it's helped us build this company very quickly.
Nav light. Strobe.
Cory has less than 48 hours to make sure this plane is ready to go before Randy shows up. And this is not the only delivery Cory has on his books. He's got another job lined up across the Atlantic. And he's hired 2 new pilots to take on this flight.
Hey.
Hey.
What's up, Rockstar?
What's going on? How you doing,
Show
man?
some man love, brother.
How you doing?
Good.
Pete Zaccanino comes highly recommended.
There's nothing better than being the business owner and knowing that you have pilots like Pete that can fly anything and has flown everything. He was a test pilot for half the planes out there, it seems like. So it's an incredible, almost a bragging right to be able to say that Pete's one of my pilots.
Pete is one of the busiest and best pilots in the U.S.
Gloves, helmet, oxygen.
He races jets, and he's a test pilot. In most cockpits, that makes him a top gun. Pete will be flying this mission with Brad White, a younger pilot with less flying time, but eager to learn.
If there was anyone that I could say in my career that could be a mentor, it would be him. Because he's done more, he's flown more airplanes than anyone I've ever flown with.
But for veteran Pete, there's a dark cloud hanging over this mission.
What happened at Reno? This is nuts, man.
Yeah, it was bad.
Friend of yours?
Yeah, I knew Jimmy. It was a bad
Good
deal.
deal.
Yeah.
4 days ago, at an air show in Reno, Nevada, Pete witnessed a very personal tragedy. One of his friends crashed his plane into the stands, killing himself and 10 spectators.
This is a catastrophic failure. This is bad.
Oh man. So, but you're feeling okay?
Yeah, you gotta move forward. And
It sucks, but you know, it happens.
yeah, it does suck. It was pretty horrible.
A tragedy at Reno, as sad as it is, and unfortunate as it is, does not shake me. You have to move forward from it. You cannot be looking back at it, because fear will kill your mind. And if you're establishing fear in your mind from a tragedy and observing a tragedy, you shouldn't fly.
So this is it right here.
Hey, I like it a lot.
It's actually, I was a little concerned about it. I didn't know if it was in good shape or if it was an old beater that we had to move. It looks pretty nice.
The plane they have to move is a twin-engine King Air, a $2 million 8-seater with some major modifications.
The King Air is the beast. It's an earlier King Air. It's in good shape, but they put in these big motors. So this thing is raging. It wants to get up and go fly.
And there's plenty of flying ahead. 7,500 kilometers from the UK to Iceland and Greenland, on to Canada, and finally south to Quincy, Illinois, 4 days from now.
And our flaps are up.
Those are some white cliffs.
Those are some white cliffs.
Did you ever think you'd be in the King Air at 2,000 feet off the cliffs of Dover?
I actually did not.
I'm just saying.
Kind of cool, though.
Oh, it's very cool.
Cool to the west.
But the sightseeing is cut short when Pete notices something wrong.
Right fuel gauge is not reducing.
Okay.
This one's dropped down, where it's at. This one doesn't move.
One of the plane's fuel gauges is still showing a full tank, but they've already been flying for half an hour.
I think we're gonna cut our flight short.
That is a good call.
King Air 78 Quebec, Romeo, Roger. We're going to start our turnaround and return to shore.
A faulty fuel gauge is bad enough, but Pete knows it could be a sign of a more serious problem.
Capitan! Cory B. Nice ride.
In Florida, a tired but upbeat Randy McGehee shows up for his new mission.
How we doing? How's it going, man?
Good.
It's hot.
Cory Bengtzen gave Randy short notice on this delivery job.
So how you doing, Randy? I know you had a long all-nighter to get here.
Man, I haven't slept much. I haven't eaten for like 16 hours, but I'll be all right.
I owe a lot of the success of my business to Randy. He really helped me get up get this company off the ground and delivering these planes. There's no way I could have delivered some of these planes without him.
Plane looks good. It's just been this insurance nightmare for the last week. It's been complete bull, but we finally have it settled, so we're ready to go. There she is.
As Cory's designated expert pilot, Randy's job is to get the plane and its crew to their destination, alive.
My part of that process is to move this airplane and make sure the airplane gets there safely. If we don't deliver the plane, we didn't do our job either.
The plane is a 1991 Beechcraft Bonanza, a high-performance aircraft with a deadly reputation for killing inexperienced pilots.
These are the doctor killers, huh?
That won't be a problem for us because I barely made it out of high school, man, so.
In the late 40s, the first Bonanzas came with a V-tail that reduced the drag on the plane. But the design also came with a high fatality rate.
A lot of guys died in this, but really the theory is that doctors are very confident and put themselves in situations that they thought they could handle, but obviously couldn't. And
Just in over their head, get their pilot's license,
So-
and then go buy a high-performance, complex plane.
After the V-tail got too much bad press, it was discontinued in 1982.
I think we gotta take it flying here. I mean, it definitely looks like an old plane.
If Randy sounds skeptical, it's because he knows what lies ahead. A 6,000-kilometer-long trek from Florida to Cuiabá, Brazil, with 6 pit stops and a treacherous pass over the dense jungle of the Amazon. The only way to find out if this Bonanza is up for it is to get it off the ground.
Clear. Clear.
And we're off. El Capitan. All right, Cory, everything looks coupled up pretty good there. You're coming up.
That gear's not. I didn't hear the gear, did you?
That's not coming up. The gear's not coming up. We got a gear problem.
The landing gear should retract into the belly of the plane, but it won't budge.
Is it stuck down? That doesn't make any sense. Rather it be stuck down than up, but this isn't good.
Jammed landing gear is especially bad right now. Cory doesn't have time for repairs. The insurance issues already have him behind schedule.
Dude, this is ridiculous. After all the other delays, we cannot have another delay. If this landing gear is a problem, I'm gonna be pissed.
Hey man, I don't even want to hear about it right now. We got to fix this problem and get it on the ground safely, and then we'll worry about the rest. So
No, this
just drop it.
Dude.
This isn't the first time Cory and Randy have butted heads over their competing agendas.
We need to get going, though. We have to get it there tonight.
If Randy thinks Cory is putting his deadlines ahead of crew safety,
We don't have to do anything.
he doesn't hesitate to pull rank on the boss.
If it gets too late, we'll just have to stay.
And Tower 9-1 Whiskey Echo like to return for landing with the possible gear failure.
Making that delivery deadline now looks impossible.
This is ridiculous.
I understand, man. Let's just get it on the ground here first.
High over the cliffs of Dover, Pete and Brad are test flying the King Air, a souped-up plane they call the Beast.
What's our fuel flow? 250.
Yeah, a little under even.
Getting it ready to fly all the way to Illinois. But Pete's just found a problem.
Well, that fuel gauge definitely is not moving.
A broken fuel gauge is a no-fly item.
When we're in flight, if we developed a fuel leak, the only way often that we would know that is our fuel gauge.
Pete isn't taking any chances. He's aborting the test flight.
Every plane I fly in, I expect is trying to kill me. And that's the attitude I bring to that aircraft. The plane's trying to kill me. It's not my friend. And it has to prove to me it's safe.
So we're sure that that fuel gauge is just stuck?
Not going into a nice imbalance.
If the fuel is flowing to just one engine, the plane will be dangerously off kilter when they try to land.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking at right there.
Yep.
Pete banks the plane back and forth to rule that out.
I just wanted to make sure that we didn't have a fuel imbalance going on and have to land with some massively heavy wing.
That is a good call.
Fuel imbalance would be bad enough on a test flight, but a disaster if it hit them on their longest leg.
If we had that over the Atlantic and turned out to be a genuine fuel transfer issue, that can turn into a serious emergency where you could lose fuel to one engine.
Okay, runway in sight. We'll keep our eyes open for birds.
Pete's first landing of the Beast is a rocky one.
I like that bird right there.
Nope.
He and Brad have a long list for the mechanics.
Gear doors on the left side, the copilot's audio is poor, and the right fuel gauge is sticking at 685 pounds. And also, it was a crappy landing. The Beast handles a little bit differently than other King Airs because of the modifications. It's got bigger propellers up front, and that changes how it lands. It has a different feel to it. So I got a leash on it right now, but it still bites at my leg every now and then. Malcolm, what do you think for all those items to be up and running, ready to go?
Well, we'll take a look at the fuel system straight away.
Okay.
The plugs, the socket's not going to be a problem. That's probably a connection there. We'll take a look now.
Okay.
And then
Great.
come up with a plan.
Okay.
Yeah.
That sounds
Great.
good.
The Beast will be a full day in the shop, a delay that won't sit too well with boss Cory Bengtzen.
I can't stress enough, guys, the urgency to get this plane to the new owner. He is needing this airplane extremely quickly for his business.
Yeah, that's a Roger.
I guess it's time to fly. Get that plane fixed. Let's get in the air.
Roger that.
2 days later, Pete and Brad are back in the air, gunning for the airport in Reykjavik, Iceland.
What do you think about coming in here at night?
If it's dark, then we just shoot it as precisely as possible, because there's a lot of stuff to hit out there.
Yeah, we have a lot of obstacles. We have mountains, volcanoes, and I'm tired.
Since leaving the UK, they've logged about 1,100 kilometers in the King Air. The plane is performing well, but Pete still doesn't trust it enough to land after dark.
When I don't know a plane, I don't trust it, and I tend to avoid night flying in that airplane until it proves to be a safe and reliable aircraft.
Well, what we're going to do is turn everything up as fast as possibly to make this plane go. Even 5 minutes faster to get there is going to help, and hopefully not land in the dark. Not the landing, it's all the obstacles and mountainous terrain.
Pete opens up the throttle, pushing the King Air up to top speed.
So he just gave us right there 2 knots by pushing the prop levers up to red line, and we're just coming up with ideas on what we can do to get there as fast as we can.
The red line strategy works. Pete and Brad shave off enough time to arrive half an hour before sunset.
2-mile final, don't have the traffic.
Turn left heading at 290, maintain 4,000 feet.
To make this landing, they have to come in high, or risk slamming into a mountain.
Maintaining 4,000 feet with the field in sight.
Check your altimeter setting. It's minus showing at 3,000 feet.
Oh, we totally blew that.
They're 1,000 feet lower than they thought, too close to the ground.
How many times do we brief that? That's what fatigue does to you.
They've set their altimeter wrong.
If it were dark,
After sundown, this simple mistake could have killed them both.
This is not an airport you want to land at in the dark.
It can be a brutal journey, and fatigue is always a factor. You're flying through time zones every day, you're tired, You're eating at different places, you're at different hotels, and that adds to your fatigue. Some people disregard that, and there are ferry pilots that crash every year.
Today, Pete's in luck. Their next stop is Greenland, but the airport is closed on Sunday, so they'll have a day off. Almost 6,000 kilometers southwest, in Florida, Randy's worried that the plane he and Cory are flying to Brazil might have a serious problem.
There we go. Access is the killer. Always is.
The landing gear retracts perfectly, some of the time, but that's not good enough for Randy.
No other red wire going to
No,
relay.
white's up at pin number 5, and red is down.
Cory makes an average $15,000 for each plane delivery, if it's trouble-free.
Every day we delay it costs us money with pilot fees and hotels and everything else. And so from a business standpoint, I'm always pushing the pilots.
Hey man, we're gonna be doing this a lot. This is gonna happen. We just gotta, it's important to me too, but it's just part of the business.
It's the part of the business that drives me freaking nuts.
Everything works like it's supposed to. So, you know, if we can't find the problem to duplicate it, we can't fix it. You know, that's simple as that. You can't fix something that's not broken.
As far as Cory is concerned, if the landing gear won't retract now and then, he's willing to fly with the wheels down. But Randy would rather have all systems working perfectly.
Hey fellas, what do we got? I mean, it didn't work, and then yeah, it worked a bunch of times, and then it didn't work, and then it worked a bunch of times, and then last time it didn't work, and it just...
What I'm saying though is as mechanics, if the system is working, I can't find the problem.
You know, we're gonna be launching into the Caribbean, and if it happens again, and we don't have real mechanics around, I mean, then we're, you know what I mean?
Start changing switches. I mean,
I don't know. I mean,
that's gonna be Chuck's call. I mean, you know, what are you gonna replace? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 switches, 2 relays. You're talking thousands of dollars.
Replacing all the switches because they can't find the bad one is an expensive call that no one wants to make.
the gear is working, but not at the level that it should be working at. We can fly the airplane as is, but we have to know that the system is a little quirky and it's not working, in my mind, entirely correctly.
Randy finally gives in. If the landing gear won't retract, the bottom line is the plane can still fly and land. So they're finally off to Brazil.
Goodbye, Florida.
Are you comfortable? You look like you're pretty stripped up. Oh,
Yeah,
you are?
stick up my ass.
Well, I've known that since the first day I met you.
Just let me know how you're doing. We just gotta make sure we don't get on each other's nerves.
But you're always on my nerves. I just don't tell you.
Yeah, man. I mean, I've been on the road 3 weeks straight before we even came into this, so it'd be nice to have at least one day down, you know?
Far up in chilly Reykjavik, Pete and Brad are supposed to be taking the day off.
We'll be taming the beast a little bit more, you know? Kind of getting used to the feel of this guy.
But both pilots would rather be flying. So Pete's going to train Brad for a dangerous landing that's coming up in their trip.
Oh, we got like 20 knot winds or something right now, so we're just gonna go and bust out some practice crosswind landings.
Tomorrow they'll be flying to Narsarsuaq, a landing strip with a nasty reputation.
The top 10 most dangerous airports in the world is Narsarsuaq, Greenland. And you need to be experienced and have your knowledge of your aircraft all set up before you get there.
Narsarsuaq is surrounded by steep cliffs that create powerful wind gusts. A strong crosswind could knock the King Air off course and send it crashing down onto the icebergs below.
These crosswind landings, the wind is hitting you from one side of the airplane instead of right down the nose the way you like it. The plane likes to turn into the wind at all times. So what we're gonna do here, the plane's gonna be coming to the runway on a big angle like this. and Pete is gonna stand on the rudder and actually end up touching down one wheel and riding on one wheel, and then put the second wheel down, the main gear, and then the nose wheel. It'll be good practice for sure.
Okay, I'm gonna get your lights here for you, big dog.
Thank you. Full flaps.
Full flaps, speed check selected, moving.
The first try for a one-wheel landing doesn't impress Brad.
It kind of felt like they both touched at the same time. Well, you know what? You had this great slip going. It seemed right at the last minute you flattened it out.
Had to put that wing down.
That sucks. All right, really roll her on one, baby.
Pete blows the next one.
It won't do it, dude.
Nope. Flaps moving.
Full flaps.
Full flaps. Engage.
But number 3 does the job.
Oh, that was buttery, dude.
Yeah, baby.
That was buttery.
Man, that was awesome.
That was kick ass. That was fun.
You were killing those things. Good job, man.
Today, Brad and Pete head for Greenland, where they'll put yesterday's flying practice to the test.
Hey, Pete, so I'm just reviewing some terrain charts here.
They're 30 minutes from Narsarsuaq Airport, one of the most dangerous landings in the world, and Brad's got the controls.
Could you give me a little rundown of what we might see?
Yeah, we got an 8,000-foot glacier that we have to contend with, so we can't just descend down.
Okay.
Number 2, the airport is in between mountains. It's in a fjord, okay? So we can't just set up nice and gradual for it. It's a steep approach. It has its terrain on left, right, and behind you and in front of you. So it's rather intense, even if the weather's good. Also, there's icebergs right at the edge of the runway.
All right.
Pete's got a lot more experience with Narsarsuaq than myself. I'm familiar with mountain flying and treacherous winds and all that from my flying in Alaska, but the actual airport itself, they're all different. Doesn't matter where you've been, it's where you're going.
So we're going to be coming from up over here, descending down through all that crap, then having to go out over the water.
Correct.
And then there's icebergs in the way. Wow, we got our hands full for sure.
For Brad, this is a rare chance to tackle the notorious airport, but he's glad to have Pete standing by for backup.
Let's hit it.
All righty.
Let's get down there and have a good look at these glaciers. I want you to see how bad it is. This place is nuts. Look how many fjords you have, and you miss one, you pick the wrong one, you're dead.
Yeah, this is crazy.
Right now, they're headed toward what could be a layer of severe turbulence.
On this arrival, we got 20-knot winds. In that fjord, this is not a flying hippo, by the way. In that fjord, it can get really aggressive with the turbulence and wind shear.
I figured as much.
Oh.
There you go right there.
It's on cue.
As we go floating out of our seats. Woohoo! Ooh, slowing down.
8 minutes from the runway, turbulence rocks the King Air. Brad slows the plane and pulls the nose up to reduce stress on the wings.
Go ahead and pitch this beauty up.
Yep, I got it.
Thank you, sir.
And right on cue.
That was unbelievable.
When turbulence hits like that, the first thing that comes into my mind is the wings coming off. There's design speeds because the planes can only handle so much abuse.
And just when things couldn't get any worse,
We just get a master warning for
hydraulic fluid low.
hydraulic fluid low. Might have a gear issue here, unfortunately. That's just great.
That's terrific.
if ever they needed their landing gear to work,
You know what, why don't we drop the gear now? Make sure we don't have a problem when we're on Friday.
Right. Gear selected down. It's moving. We got a green on the nose. And left and right. We got 3 green and no red.
Okay, cool. Well, that's sorted.
the gear problem has disappeared.
November 78, Quebec Romeo, turning final runway 07.
But ahead, more to deal with.
Got a long runway. It's windy and it's going to have wind shear.
Yep.
So, what are you thinking for speed? There's some big flipping icebergs out there. Holy smokes.
500.
All right, let's go final flaps, please. Final flap selected. Speed is good.
With a cool head and a steady hand, Brad conquers Narsarsuaq.
Welcome to Greenland.
Here we are.
They've now completed 3 legs of their mission. Only 4 more to go. Far from the land of icebergs and glaciers, Cory and Randy fly over the turquoise Caribbean on their way to Brazil, with working landing gear that hasn't let them down so far.
Yeah, there's a ton of people on that beach. Stay focused, but make it look good. Got a big audience down here in Hollywood.
They're coming into St. Martin, dead tired and in desperate need of some shut-eye.
Nice one.
Yeah, good day, at 317.
They might get some forced time off right now. Turns out their pint-sized Bonanza is too small to rate immediate attention.
The handler said that there's a bunch of big airlines that they have to fuel up first, some of those 757s and whatnot.
It's a problem ferry pilots know all too well. They only need 300 liters of fuel, so they have to wait for the big planes that might be buying 200 times as much.
They're gonna get the big guys out of the way before they'll come fuel up a little guy.
Cory isn't happy, but for once, he isn't worried about his delivery deadline. He even decides to take advantage of the delay for some fun.
This airport's very well known because everybody can stand right up on that fence, and there's a huge planes that come in and land right on top of them. So it's going to be fun to see. I've seen it on YouTube and the internet a bunch. I've never seen it in person. Here we go. Here we go. I like it. This is going to be fun. We're at work right now. We're working.
Cory and Randy have had a few high-tension moments on this trip, but by now, they've put it all behind them. And that's a good thing, because they're gonna need all the good vibes they can get for the next leg of this journey. In Greenland, Pete and Brad have just barnstormed their way through some serious turbulence. They're 1/3 of the way to delivering the King Air to Quincy, Illinois.
Ready?
Yes.
While the plane is refueling, they check out the icebergs in the fjords near the airport.
We're now taking a look at what's ahead of us. When we depart and head to Goose Bay, we'll be flying over a very extensive ice pack field full of icebergs. Holy smokers.
Imagine having to land the airplane in that and not only survive the crash, but then you got all that to deal with. I mean, you're done.
Look at the size of that.
Being in Greenland reminds me a lot of Alaska, and I actually consider Alaska to be my home. With the mountains and with the glaciers, the animals, I actually got really homesick.
Brad was a medevac pilot in Alaska. Now he flies as a contract pilot in Afghanistan when he's not ferry flying. He spends about 8 months a year in the air.
Being a pilot is definitely difficult on home and family life. You're traveling all the time, and you lose a lot of friends and you miss a lot of good times with family. Let's roll!
Canada, here we come.
Brad and Pete are now on their last leg across the North Atlantic. They'll head to Quebec City and then onward to Illinois.
You're writing notes and I'm cruising through a fjord.
Yep.
Are you kidding me? Is this boring? Brad's like, yeah, that's great. Look at the mountain.
This is like an average day at work in Alaska, man.
Here we go, the Alaska reference. Okay, when do we stop hearing those? Do I go back in Iraq for on and on?
But we're not flying in Iraq.
We're not in Alaska right now.
I know, but it looks exactly the same. Minus the animals.
It's a neat place. It's special.
It is special. You're special.
Oh, for the love of Moses.
4,900 kilometers south, Cory and Randy are finally getting refueled.
How are you doing? Can we get both tanks topped off? Full up?
Yeah, thanks, buddy.
And Cory's anxious to take off because they still have 4,000 kilometers of flying ahead over the Caribbean Sea and across South America to deliver the client's plane within 4 days.
Hey, Cory.
Yo. Yeah, let's get the hell out of here.
You got her. Yeah, let's get out of here.
Cory's business has really taken off in the past 2 months.
Bye-bye, St. Martin. We'll miss you.
But the schedule's been a killer.
We've got 310 nautical miles to go. I'm a little tired right now. We've had 3 long days, and we're constantly being challenged in one way or another. We're not eating much. I'm sure we're dehydrated because we're not drinking much.
We put in a lot of hours in the cockpit every day. We don't get a lot of sleep. We're jumping time zones. Our body's always trying to catch up, but yet the type of flying we do requires the most concentration because something always goes wrong.
Cory, I'm going to need your help on this flight. Always be double checking these gauges. Every minute you should at least run your eyes past them, maybe even a little closer than normal.
Okay.
This one engine, we have to take care of it so it takes care of us.
Extreme fatigue is dangerous enough when conditions are perfect. But suddenly, thunderheads come out of nowhere and close in on the tiny Bonanza.
Whoa. You feel that? Yeah, this is crazy, dude. Cory, this is gonna get rough, man. Seriously, this could be really bad. Make sure you're strapped in.
Up north in Quebec City,
78 Quebec Romeo.
Pete and Brad are just landing.
Like butter.
Hey, how's it going? Good. Welcome to Quebec City. Hey, thanks.
Back in cell phone range, Brad makes a call.
We're ferrying this plane from England, and it turns out we're landing in Quincy, Illinois.
He hasn't seen his mother in over a year. This may be his big chance.
And I looked at the map, it's like 300 miles away, and I was wondering if there's any chance you could get down there. I never get to see my mom. She's living in Chicago, and we were taking this plane to Quincy, Illinois. I think it's about 300 miles, and I'm just kind of wondering if there's any way I can see her. You know, I'm getting a free ride there, so.
But a severe weather system moving across the Midwest might put these plans on hold.
We're up here. We got to roll all the way down here through all of this crap, 3 lows.
This could be a real problem. This type of weather can be fatal.
Yeah, this can take wings off.
We need to get moving, like ASAP. Vámonos.
Europe.
Right away, they see that this has the makings of a major storm system directly in their path.
That's a massive cloud in front of us.
Yes, it is.
We will not be going through that.
I am going to request a heading.
November 8 Quebec Romeo, I'll have on course for you in about 7 or 8 miles once I get you past 3 scattered areas of heavy precipitation.
Yeah, we're just going to talk to you about that. We're looking at it. It's quite significant.
You can see all this red here. Obviously, red is not a good thing. It's painting the heaviest precipitation, and heavy precip comes out of thunderstorms.
Air traffic control comes through, guiding them right around the thunderstorms to calm skies.
There's the airport, I'm pretty sure.
Airport's in sight.
Now, they're closing in on the finish line.
Quincy traffic to King Air, short final. This is low approach only 31. Okay, dude, 140 knots.
200 feet.
Roger.
Miles northwest, inbound for left downwind, 31 Quincy.
Guess what? We're in Quincy.
There she is, taking photos.
Brad rolls the King Air to a stop. And here's his welcoming committee.
Hey, we made it. We finally made it. How's it going? It felt awesome to see my mom. I mean, I haven't seen her forever. Yeah. Hey, Mom, this is Pete.
Hi.
My partner in crime.
This is an absolutely gorgeous plane. It has to be fun to fly.
We had fun. I think we made friends with it.
Yep. Pete actually nicknamed it the Beast. And we had to tame the Beast.
Are you gonna miss her?
I think I am gonna miss the Beast.
Really?
Yeah, it was a fun ride. It's always a fun ride, you know, and I'm gonna shed a tear tonight when I see her in the rearview mirror.
I'll tell you, it's worth the 300-mile drive.
Yeah, how
for
about
as infrequently as we get together.
The King Air is finally home. After a tough 7,600-kilometer flight across one of the most challenging routes in the world.
We're done here, and then we're off to the next flight. What that is, we don't know yet. It could be South America, it could be Russia, it could be China. Each one has new challenges. That's part of the excitement.
Over the Caribbean Sea, exhausted as they are, Cory and Randy have made it through a serious thunderstorm.
The further we get away from this, the less problem it should be, so I'll be glad to get away from it.
But now, a new problem. They're running out of daylight.
That sun is setting fast.
Randy switches from visual to instrument navigation.
Cory, we're gonna shoot this approach, but we're not gonna mess around. Roger that.
Next stop, the Joshua Airport in St. Vincent. An airstrip so dangerous, 3 planes have crashed trying to land after dark.
Have to have a special clearance to land at night, even if you're an instrument-rated pilot.
Cory and Randy don't have the clearance, so they're racing to beat the clock.
Thank you, sir. We're cleared down to 1,500 feet, 91 Whiskey Echo.
But they might be too late.
We would like to know whether you are checked out for night operations at the airport.
Okay, sir, I'm not sure how to answer that question. This is our first time at that airport, but we are IFR-rated pilots.
Randy hopes that being qualified to fly by instrument will get him a pass to land.
Joshua advises that they are not able to accept you because you don't have this night operation at Joshua qualification.
It doesn't work. Permission to land is denied, and it couldn't come at a worse time.
Now, this simple flight is quickly turning into a nightmare. A lot of black out there, Capitan.
Black is the color of trouble for pilots Cory Bengtzen and Randy McGeehee.
Well, with no moon and a bunch of clouds, we're not going to be able to see much. Well, we really don't want to be here right now. This is not where we want to be at all.
Cory and Randy have been driving full bore for weeks. Exhausted, they pushed off again, leaving Florida in a Beechcraft Bonanza, bound for Brazil. Then, a strict airport rule about landing after sundown.
Damn it.
Left them in limbo above the Caribbean.
We're climbing out of there, we're going to Grenada.
Now, dead tired, they face another hour in the air, and their daylight is done.
We're a single-engine airplane with no visual reference at night over the ocean, going into an unfamiliar airport with a controller that we can barely understand his accent.
November 901 Whiskey Echo, request position.
901
Whiskey Echo is 9-8 miles out from the GND Golf November Delta V1.
In the dark, they're forced to rely completely on their instruments.
Look out there. All you can see is black. There are no lights. There's no horizon. There's nothing. I mean, it's sensory deprivation right now.
Even with instruments to help guide them, with no horizon line to refer to, a pilot can be tricked by how his body feels.
We have no sense of movement. We have no sense of space. We have no sense of altitude. It's just not a real comfortable feeling, you know?
There's a lot of pilots that have died just because of that. They feel like they're in a turn or in a climb or a descent when the plane's actually going straight, so they'll bank into something where they shouldn't, and they end up crashing.
There's a lot of black, there's a lot of water, not a lot of options.
And on the island of Grenada, where they're about to land, the options aren't great either.
We got a lot of things stacked against us. We're surrounded by 3,000-foot mountains in all directions. Bottom line, there's no messing around on this, and there's no margin for error. I might ask for information. I need you to really be focused for me.
Roger that, Captain.
You let your guard down for a minute, and it's fatal. Runway in sight, 91 Whiskey Echo.
Ready to put this plane on the ground.
Hang on, fellas. Welcome to Grenada, boys.
Well done, Capitan. Holy.
I seriously thought that was going to be the easiest leg of our entire trip. I certainly hope we don't have anything that risky again, you know?
Dude, you rocked on that approach. If I was with some of my other buddies, that would have been really fancy.
Well, I couldn't have done it without you, so.
We did it, though.
Good job, man.
14 time zones away. It's a new day. And a whole new world for ferry pilot Kerry McCauley.
Nice. This is a sexy looking jet. I can't wait to fly it.
This is the Phenom 100, a highly computerized executive jet with a $3.5 million price tag.
Very cool.
It's aviation's next generation, and Kerry's playing catch up.
Been ferry flying for quite a while now, since 1989. And it's kind of hard to get up to speed with some of the new stuff. You know, you get comfortable with old technology.
Let's get some power back though. We're doing 110 now.
A veteran seat-of-the-pants pro, Kerry's like a race car driver. He prefers his ride hands-on.
Now this is why I ferry fly. Who else gets a chance to do this?
Woo! That was cool.
In the cockpit of a propeller plane, Kerry is king.
Watch your speed.
But on this trip, Kerry's the one taking orders.
Oh my goodness. What are the odds? There are two Phenoms in Australia. I flew both of them here, and they're one behind each other.
The Phenom master is pilot Marcio Lucchesi.
It has its computers to do a lot of things, but the primary flight controls are mechanical.
Marcio has flown around a dozen of these birds for Jet Aviva, a high-end delivery firm. But when it comes to jets, Kerry's a virgin.
First time flying a jet, first time flying with Marcio or even meeting Marcio.
So we're all ready to go.
And first time being a co-pilot in almost a quarter of a century, 25 years since I haven't been the one what's in charge.
Oh yeah, that is back.
Now, together, they're taking this plane on a 14-stop run to Las Vegas.
Okay, now we're gonna find out if she's healthy or not.
Wow, this is cool. It's like the space shuttle.
Yeah, you can use, there's nothing more modern than this. Everything's automatic. There's always a computer behind it. Yeah, good.
The whole plane is really kind of a flying computer. It's going to take me 2 days to study the manual just to figure out how to turn the damn thing on.
So let's start this bad boy, see what she says. Initializing system.
TAWS system failure. TAWS system failure.
That's not good.
TAWS system failure.
We're in trouble here.
TAWS system failure.
In Kerry's world, when the plane won't start, he calls for a mechanic.
TAWS system failure.
Marcio, he calls tech support.
I have the cast box with a big red X on it. So what do I do? How do I cancel the damn, there's an alarm here going dang, dang, dang.
He's spitting out words like updates and multifunction displays. But if the computer's not working, nothing's working.
Let's do that. Let's call these people.
In the Caribbean, Kerry's boss is working overtime.
If everything goes as planned, we should be in Manaus early afternoon. Good morning, sir.
Cory has just one thing on his mind right now, his schedule. He and Randy have logged more than 2,700 kilometers from Florida across the Caribbean. From here, they'll zigzag down Brazil to their final stop.
Dude, I'm pumped to actually get into Brazil.
We've had some long days, short nights, and we're tired.
Cory's got Randy on a short leash. Fast turnarounds, no downtime.
I mean, we're too tired, we're too beat up, it's too hot. That fatigue's gonna catch up with us, man.
Today, Cory and Randy have to cover nearly 1,800 kilometers, most of it over dense Brazilian jungle. Run into trouble here, and it's a guaranteed crash landing with lousy odds of survival.
There's no wires, there's no roads, there's no tracks of any kind. It's just a bunch of jungle down there.
They need to stay sharp. But fatigue is now in full flight.
It's like Beavis and Butthead flying the most dangerous missions in the world. All we can talk about is 6 or 8 year old humor type stuff. I don't know what else to call it right now.
Jumping time zones, being at altitude. If you're tired, you're physically drained, you can make a stupid decision. And you're dead because of it.
Tomorrow might be a good day for a rest day, man, because we're totally losing it here.
What tank are we on now?
I don't left, I think.
They need to pull it together. Ahead of them, 3,300 kilometers across some of the most unforgiving terrain on the planet.
Man, I'm tired, man. I'm hurting.
Me too. This has been a long few days.
Cory and Randy are out of steam, and now they're also running out of clear skies.
I mean, Cory, those things are at least 30,000 feet. Look at that thing, man. All this stuff's got to be right in the middle of our path.
Detouring around these storms is eating up time. They have the fuel for it. What they're low on is daylight.
The biggest hazard is just the sun going down, us not making our destination in time, and then not being able to see.
Near the equator, the sun drops fast. And having tangled with the dark once already on this trip,
This might have been a mistake.
Randy's not anxious for a repeat.
There's a term in aviation called get-home-itis. A lot of accidents have happened because people don't want to take the extra time to wait or turn around. I mean, the last 2 trips, we keep pushing it into the evening and night.
The sun is setting pretty fast, but got to get this plane down there.
They're within spitting distance of their destination, but they've lost their race with the sun.
Well, there's Manaus. I see her.
Manaus 9-1 Whiskey Echo. Can we start a descent, please?
November 91 Whiskey Echo. Clear down 1,500 feet.
Thank you, sir. We're cleared down to 1,500 feet, 91 Whiskey Echo. Okay, we're tired. Make sure we get to the right runway. Don't do anything stupid.
For the second time in as many days, Randy's instruments are his only lifeline.
All right, not fast and high. Come on, Randy. Better than that. Damn it. There's an arrival.
They're now within a day of their final destination.
I'm just glad to be out of the tight quarters there and just trying to get loosened up. A little tired, but it never stops, so. Declaration?
Yes. Passport.
We've pushed it too hard, too long already. Start talking seriously about taking tomorrow off.
Cory's silence is loud and clear. To him, a day off is just another delay, one his business can't afford. The Phenom 100 is sometimes called a mini airliner, an upscale ride with a computer at its core. And right now, that's the problem.
It's 3 main computers that are missing a software update, so they're not talking. See if we can format that.
I don't know how to do that.
The solution? A simple download. For Kerry, not so simple.
My wife is really good with computers, so I have been really lacking in my computer knowledge and learning because I just say, honey, make it work, and she does.
I don't even have words to describe how this little thing here can ground a $4 million jet. All right, here it is. Let's see if she likes it.
A few minutes ago, the jet wouldn't boot up. Turns out the software update
Good, I think.
TOS system test. Okay.
is the magic touch.
She's healthy, puppy.
Yeah, man.
Who's your daddy? You miss your daddy, didn't you? Daddy's back.
The Phenom and her crew of 2 are finally good to go.
If you have any religious belief, this is the time to talk to your Lord and say,
Dear Lord, please don't let me screw up. If I blow this flight, I'll have a real hard time getting any jet job in the U.S. because the jet community is pretty small, and my name will be mud out there.
Kerry has manhandled prop planes for decades, but he's never flown a jet.
Bengtzen ground, 777 Bravo Foxtrot, ready to copy climb.
777 Bravo Foxtrot, you're clear for takeoff.
And the Phenom 100 isn't just any jet.
Takeoff, okay.
4067, good day.
Pilots call it a flying computer. Kerry's more of a typewriter guy. It's a big jump.
Zip up, let's go. Right, man.
if you are not a good pilot and someone asks me, is this guy a good pilot? I will tell them the truth. And you would be amazed how many careers or jobs that I had to end because of my honesty.
He's probably got some high expectations because I talk a big game, got a lot of experience. So it's time to put up or shut up. And I hate shutting up.
Kerry will have to hold his tongue for a good long time. The trip, Sydney, Australia, to Las Vegas, USA. A commercial airliner makes the run in under 17 hours. But the Phenom was built for shorter hauls, 2,200 kilometers at the most. So for this trip, it's globetrotting. Across the Australian outback, up over Indonesia, Asia, Russia, then dropping down into the United States. More than 19,000 kilometers and 14 stops in 6 days.
We're taking this jet right to the edge. And when I say right to the edge, it's right to the edge.
In the plane delivery business, a day off is as rare as a problem-free flight. But after days of demanding it, Randy's finally got his R&R.
All right, thanks, man. This is awesome. Flying is inherently dangerous and it's difficult. But there comes a point where I've got to just put my foot down and make that call.
This morning I was pretty pissed that we weren't flying. I wanted to get the plane down there, but this is amazing.
That's your preventative. Look at that kid. Did you get that kid jumping off? Oh. Come on. Let's see it. Here we go. Nice. Oh. Nice. Woo! So these are the fish that will pull you down to the bottom, huh? Jeez, that thing is strong. Did you see how big that thing was? Oh, Randy, look at this one. This is much better than being in a small, cramped cockpit with no food or water and 120 degrees.
I'm glad you talked me into staying. This is amazing. And Randy made a good call by just relaxing for the day and turn around and look at this. When's the next time I'm going to be here? This is awesome.
But Cory and Randy are about to be reminded, awesome comes at a price. The next day is delivery day for the Beechcraft Bonanza. But Cory Bengtzen and Randy McGeehee haven't even left the ground, and already they're in a holding pattern.
Hey, dude, I need some cash to pay the handler and landing fee and all the customs.
Man, we're running light. We got $40 after this.
Dude, they just don't, none of these places take credit cards. It's crazy.
We're not even halfway through the trip yet.
Their 24-hour vacation has left Cory and Randy cash-strapped.
What does this say?
And most of the bank machines appear to be taking their own day off.
I went through 8 machines and 2 banks, and I couldn't get any money out.
I've got about 700 Brazil, so it's about $500 right now.
Cory and Randy need around $2,000 to cover the airport fees and fuel costs.
If we can't get the money, we're not going anywhere.
An ocean away, the techno jet they call the Phenom is living up to the name.
Gears up.
The Phenom can climb as high as a commercial jet and reach speeds almost as fast.
Yeah, you have to watch it, okay, when you put a departure stuff. Just make sure that it's properly sequenced.
For a prop plane guy like Kerry McCauley, it's like being strapped into a guided missile.
I'm kind of feeling like a dummy in this plane. You know, it's like a caveman trying to figure out the Concorde.
Kerry and Marcio blast across the Australian outback, veering up toward Indonesia.
Marcio, I'd like you to meet somebody. Okay. I'm a superstitious guy, but what I'd like you to meet is Hula Girl. I got her when I first started ferry flying and with me ever since. It's my good luck charm.
Hula Girl has more than luck going for her.
What the hell is that?
Cory, meet Hula Girl.
She's a coconut-clad icebreaker. On a recent flight to Brazil, tension was brewing between Kerry and Cory.
Pretty interesting there, buddy.
Yeah, well, you gotta have somebody to talk to on the long flights.
One look at Hula Girl, the turbulence in the cockpit disappeared.
Hopefully she'll bring us good luck on this leg. She's not alone.
Yeah? Let me introduce you to my friend Jack.
What a big fish thing.
Jack is not really a superstition or anything like this. It's just covering my behind, because his behind
is full of instructions for me. So don't forget the permits, don't forget the gear pins, the chocks, the hotel, the fuel key. Every time before I go, you know, I take a moment to just grab Jack and say, Jack, what's up?
That's awesome. Thought I was the only crazy one.
No, man, there are weird people everywhere, man.
Kerry's a veteran pilot, but he's brand new to jets. And on this trip, it's not just the technology he's learning about.
Stay tuned.
Marcio's also teaching him some new tricks for their stop in Indonesia.
Indonesia really loves football, and they're big fans of Brazil for the soccer. We do not have any handlers, any support, anybody there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to wear my Brazilian soccer jersey. Maybe I can make some friends.
It's Ronaldo! Oh my God! That's awesome!
It's also a plan to save money at the next stop. Marcio's not paying for ground crew. He's counting on a yellow shirt and a lot of charm to get him what he needs.
All right, so here's the story. Just you and I. So we have one chance to make a good impression. You know, try to let me do the talking, I would say. You know?
This is terminal information for Samratulangi International.
Hydro contact tower on 1181, clear for the visual for 36, Bravo Foxtrot.
All right, Indonesia.
So this should be it. I'm not just a pilot. I'm a flight department. How are you? I'm Captain Lucchesi, okay? We came from the little jet, so I need to file the flight plans. I'm a dispatcher, I'm a flight planner, I'm a hotel reservations, I'm a maintenance coordinator. I do everything.
Your friend Ronaldo?
Yeah, my friend Ronaldo. Oh, that's my friend. Yeah, my friend.
Really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah? I know my Ronaldo. He gave me shirt.
The jersey works its magic with the flight planners and the fuel guys.
Thank you very much. See you next time. Okay, what do we have to do? Well, now I'm here.
But at his final call, where he's looking for an exit stamp, immigration officials don't see a yellow T-shirt. They see a red flag.
I'm worried about the permits. I'm worried about the paper.
Well, we didn't show up with the actual paper copy of our permit. Problem one. Problem two is these guys seem to really wanted us to hire a handler.
So on the immigration side, what do we have to do now then to clear?
My role, your problem like this, to investigation for you.
Investigation?
This is a bad place for a pilot.
We called the airport authority. Do I need to hire a handler? They said no.
The interrogation room of an Indonesian immigration department.
Wait for the big boss, and he's going to be the one that decides what the appropriate punishment is for us. I mean, it could seriously be jail.
When he opened the rule book, I said, oh, this is bad news.
It seems failing to bring proper paperwork and cheaping out on ground crew is a serious offense.
I have to hire ground handling services.
Yeah, like this.
But when the head honcho arrives,
620.
It's nothing that a few greenbacks can't solve.
Thank you so much, okay? We'll see you next time. Have a good dinner tonight, okay?
Kerry and Marcio are free to go.
There are two friends that always get me out of trouble. One is Ronaldo, the other one is Ben Franklin.
Halfway around the world,
You got one to work. You got some? You got...
Randy and Cory are saddled with big airport fees and empty wallets.
I'm not the most patient person, and so these delays drive me nuts.
Okay, we just landed. It's a beautiful weather.
But they just ran into a little luck, and his name is Joey.
Did you pay already the land fee here?
No.
No?
Joey gets what Cory and Randy are up against.
Over there is gonna be like 400 miles, let's say 3 hours. Let's say 3 hours.
Because he's one of them.
He's also a ferry pilot from the States and has done this route a lot.
We need money to get out of here.
Let's see how much I have, but I can help you out for sure. I can borrow you money. You give me later. Or deposit my account in America or here.
It's kind of like a fraternity because there's only a very select few of us that do it, that have the guts to do it. And so we respect that about each other, and we'll do anything we can to help each other out.
Thanks, buddy. 4. Okay. Let's go. That took way too long. When we got here, we had nice, clear skies, and now all quadrants, we got building thunderstorms. If we don't get out of here soon, we're not going. Let's go.
Cory and Randy are in the final stretch. It's 1,500 kilometers to the finish line. And like any other marathon, those last miles can be a killer.
Hey,
Look at that, man. Storm, 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 storm. Huge storm. You see that thing? I can't even estimate how many miles wide that thing is.
Randy's an old hand at dodging storm clouds he can see, but electricity is invisible and travels for miles.
That's the airport. Hitting all those lightning strikes.
This lightning scope detects electricity in the air not picked up by regular radar.
6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13.
And the picture is grim.
We got about 17 lightning strikes right over the airport right now, so we just made it out. Here we go.
140 to deviation due to weather, sir.
Yeah, Cory left.
Any deviation either.
We don't want to get anywhere near that stuff. This prop kicking with all this moisture in the air, we're just generating negative ionization right now. We're just asking to get hit.
Though modern aircraft are mostly built to take it, lightning can still punch a plane out of the sky. It can damage the frame and wiring, shatter a windshield, or spark an explosion.
One of the worst times I ever had in an airplane was in an airliner, and we took a massive lightning strike, and we almost didn't make that. If this plane got hit, I guarantee we'd never make it down.
For Kerry and Marcio, it's been smooth sailing.
A whole lot around, hey. Oh, no, a whole lot of deep.
They've put more than 7,000 kilometers behind them in 3 days and are now zeroing in on Russia.
That part of Russia was the primary point of attacking the United States during the Cold War.
Take a look at that, a supersonic one.
Yeah, that's cool.
You see the runways and you see the security. It brings you back in time. So wow, this Cold War, this was not a joke.
The runways left over from the Cold War aren't very funny either. An Airbus lurches down the tarmac.
He's shaking like a little girl because the road is too bad. X-ray is so up that he cannot exit fast enough. Are you ready for departure from Taxiway Charlie or Taxiway Mike?
After a quick refuel, it's Kerry and Marcio's turn to taxi for takeoff.
Takeoff, okay.
It's like heading off-road.
Well, this taxiway is beat up. Been on smoother gravel roads. I do things distinctly in Mother Russia.
Just a stone about this big hits your tire and whoop, flies right into your engine. You just got yourself a $1 million bill.
The runway rocks miss the engine.
She's on GPS doing the departure, 200 knots.
But they may have hit something else.
Cabin. 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 Cabin.
Stop the climb. Stop the climb right here.
Moments after leaving a Russian runway,
Autopilot.
Level off.
Kerry and Marcio are in a full-blown emergency.
We lost pressurization.
Autopilot.
Okay, tell them we need to maintain altitude right now. Slow down.
The jet is losing cabin pressure.
Autopilot.
They need to stop their climb to keep from losing consciousness. But there's an Airbus closing in fast, and the control tower wants them out of the way.
Okay, November 777 Bravo Foxtrot, climb initially 9,100 meters. You are being followed by Airbus 330, 10 miles behind.
Just forget about him then. Fly the plane for me, please. Maintain altitude and fix this shit. I have the plane.
Kerry's a prop pilot flying his first ever jet, and this is trial by fire.
Negative. We have a pressurization problem right now. We need to hold altitude for a minute. We'll advise.
Foxtrot, last problem.
We have a pressurization problem. I'll get back to you in just a minute. Slow. 200 knots.
While Kerry controls the jet, Marcio tries to troubleshoot.
November 777 Bravo Foxtrot.
Slow down.
What level do you need?
1,800 meters. Which oxygen mask on? Come on.
Under pressure, Kerry's fallen back on his old skills, flying the plane by hand.
Autopilot on. Autopilot on.
Autopilot. Autopilot.
The computerized plane is back on autopilot.
Autopilot.
But Kerry's got it on the wrong setting. He quickly corrects.
Have it.
Autopilot.
But in the confusion, he loses track of his airspeed.
Stall. 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 Autopilot.
Marcio has no choice but to take back the controls. He powers the plane out of the potentially deadly stall.
Are you okay? Yeah. Pay attention, okay? What the hell was that? Oh, you forgot to look at its speed? I know. Yeah. That's what happened. Okay, there you go. Easy does it, puppy. Easy. There we go, that's better. Easy.
I screwed up. I've never flown anything like that before. I barely know how to shut the door on the thing, so I've got a little bit of catching up to do.
For now, Marcio rides the cabin pressure by hand.
Hey, coming to flaps 3. Okay.
Kerry takes over the landing.
Very nice, very nice.
If Marcio seems unfazed by all the drama, it's because he's pretty sure he knows what's causing the cabin pressure problem.
I know what happened now.
He'll soon know if he's right. In the southern hemisphere,
Look at that water coming down on that. You see that, Cory?
Cory and Randy are navigating a minefield of thunderstorms above Brazil.
This plane cannot handle anything that storm's gonna dish out, so we want to give it a wide margin.
Concentration of vultures from final approach.
Vultures. Turn right. There you go. You couldn't make this stuff up, man. I'm serious, man. Freaking vultures, thunderstorms.
This trip's tossed a lot of bad stuff their way. They've flown bone-tired and been tricked by nighttime illusions. They've had no place to land and been cleaned out of cash. In this racket, a game plan is just a suggestion.
Cuiabá approach, good afternoon, November 9-1 Whiskey Echo 080.
5 days and more than 6,000 kilometers after leaving Florida, their final destination of Cuiabá, Brazil, is in sight.
Well done, Capitan. We're on the ground. She did well. She did well.
We were up, we were down. Every time we turned around, our plans had to change.
We did it!
It was just non-stop action the whole way down.
Whew.
We finally made it.
And the one person as happy as they are about that
All right, congratulations.
is the Bonanza's owner.
The new owner's ecstatic about his airplane.
All right. Happy new owner.
He's all yours now.
He's excited and he's kind of giddy walking around his new airplane and getting to hand the keys to him. And it's just like a huge weight's been off my back. But I'm ready to do it again.
Next time, we gotta bring a ton more cash.
On a concrete Russian slab, Kerry and Marcio have one temperamental jet and an even bigger problem. The Phenom 100 is cutting edge. The mechanics, not so much.
I'm here in remotest Russia, and these guys all the aircraft are baling wire and 2x4s. I mean, they're built to last, they're tough, but they're not flying computers.
But Marcio knows his way around this fancy Phenom. He's flown several of them, and he has a theory about this one.
I want to make sure there's no loose wire. Oh, it's right up here. See, it's right up here.
This wire is connected to a sensor that automatically adjusts cabin pressure.
So it might be bouncing so much that it's just giving wrong signals to the computer.
Marcio suspects the rough Russian runway shook it loose on takeoff.
I'm not too concerned about it. On the taxiway in, the message disappears, so. Also, funny enough, a lot of the Russian-made airplanes, they have huge tires. And we're asking, why do they have huge tires? Now we know.
Now we know.
There's a sensor there for pressurization. But taxiway in Russia. So, sensor.
After briefing the mechanics, Marcio and Kerry turn their attention to their next and most dangerous destination, Russia's Far East.
The weather.
Tomorrow with the fuel.
And the Russian weather lady doesn't sugarcoat the situation.
1 kilometer visibility, which is not much. Showers, snow, and rain. Okay, mist.
From the late autumn till the spring, late spring, it is bad. It is often, almost constantly bad.
In the world of ferry flying, playing the odds is part of the game.
Well, we're gonna give it a shot.
Kerry and Marcio are taking a chance on the weather.
Hope for the best, prepare for the worst.
Visibility 10 kilometers. Broken 1500.
You're coming up. First 500 feet. Autopilot. This is a remote area. I bet nobody's been over and messed with this stuff for a really long time.
The Phenom has now soared across 8,700 kilometers and is arcing into the Russian Far East.
Weather report just took a big turn for the worse. It was, okay, last one we had was overcast at 200 meters. It's now went to overcast at 120 meters. It got pretty bad in 20 minutes. Yeah, 20 minutes, huh?
November 777 Bravo Foxtrot overcast at 90.
Now we're down to 90, which is 295 feet. It's pretty low. It's getting there.
The airport they're headed to is now almost completely socked in.
And the trend is
Thinking about we gotta go somewhere else. This is not gonna work.
They veer to another airport. Then,
November Bravo Foxtrot confirmation. Aerodrome Uniform Hotel Mike Papa is closed.
That's just great. It's just closed the airport. Nice.
I don't know what to do, man. What do you think?
I don't want to turn around. If we decide to go, should we go faster and get there before it gets any worse?
it's back to Plan A. Reroute to the original airport and hope the weather clears by the time they get there. 2 hours later, they're closing in on their destination.
There's a big mountain we don't want to hit. Look at the way that the clouds are separated by it.
It's not just terrain that's trouble.
And arrival November 777 Bravo Foxtrot. Can you please request lights, full bright at the airport, please?
Light in operation.
Say, no light? No light. Doesn't help much, does it?
No, that's not good.
There's not enough fuel to turn around. With night falling and lousy visibility, they've got to pick their way to the unlit airstrip.
To make this first one count.
They drop into the soup that hangs low over the runway.
777 Bravo Foxtrot, you are clear to land, surface wind 300 degrees, 6 meters.
To the airport.
Negative.
November 777 Bravo Foxtrot in the mark.
Then, just 90 meters above the runway,
I see some lights. Okay, I'm past, you looking good?
Yep.
the runway lights suddenly blast back to life.
160 feet over actual runway now. Got it? You're good?
Are we gonna live today?
I think so. Oh, the beer's gonna taste so good. Flaps coming to 0.
November 777 Bravo Foxtrot on ground at 46, backtrack runway 01.
This would have been a real bitch without any lights. Can I start breathing now? Okay. Oh, you're up there! Was the issue ever in doubt? Maybe a little.
But a flight's not over until the keys are in the hands of the owner. And that's in Las Vegas, more than 5,300 kilometers away. On the last leg of a 19,000-kilometer marathon, two ferry pilots race to the finish line in a state-of-the-art Phenom jet.
See Vegas? To the airport right there?
I have the airport.
Slow down.
Marcio Lucchese has flown plenty of these babies, but this is the first jet flight for Kerry McCauley, and he'll be landing it in front of the new owner.
Dude, land there.
Autopilot.
Start putting your flaps, start slowing down.
If you're shelling out $3.5 million on an executive jet, you want it handled with kid gloves.
Figuring, full flaps, no warning lights.
Sink rate. Pull up.
Pull up a little bit.
Sink rate.
There you go, just a little. Beautiful. A little bit of power now. Right, don't dive for now. Just keep it nose up. Nose up. Perfect, my friend, perfect. That's my boy. And start braking. More braking. Yep.
Hey, big guy.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
Congratulations with the new airplane.
Thank
it was
you.
a pleasure, huh?
Hey, you guys
We
did a
made
great
all set.
job.
Thank you so
Congratulations to
much.
the crew. Thanks a lot.
If anyone deserves to celebrate right now, it's Kerry.
It tastes good after a long flight.
Yeah.
This trip, flying halfway around the globe, from Australia to America, was his trial by fire.
Cabin. Cabin.
Learning to take orders from a computer.
What the hell was that?
Stall.
And trying to hold it together when everything's falling apart.
Kerry did really well. I was not expecting for him to pick up as quick as he did. Yeah, man, looking forward to do it again.
Yeah, they say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you can teach an old pilot how to fly a jet, apparently.
Kerry might have plans to cool his heels in Vegas, but he won't get the chance.
Yeah, it seems to be a nice plane. I haven't seen it myself. The broker told me it's nice.
Back at head office, boss Cory Bengtzen just landed a big contract to deliver a plane to Argentina. And he wants Kerry on it right away.
This is Kerry. Hey, Kerry. It's Cory Bengtzen, CB Aviation. How are you? I've got a trip that just came up extremely quickly. I need you to captain a Navajo down to Argentina.
Yeah, sure, no problem.
There was another ferry company that was doing the flight, and they quit halfway through. So the client called me in a panic and is begging for us to do it.
This is a chance for Cory to grow his new business and to succeed where others have failed.
I had no idea how I was going to put it all together, but in this business, you got to be able to make things happen.
The rush is on.
Best case scenario for me is I don't hear from them. The plane takes off, they handle any issues that comes up, and I get a phone call that the airplane's delivered in Argentina.
The plane is a '79 Piper Navajo Chieftain, a stretch limo version of the regular Navajo with souped-up engines. Kerry's back in his element with the kind of plane he's flown for 20 years.
Check the oil caps all secure. 11 in the right and then 10 and a half in the left.
His co-pilot on Cory's rush job is Stu Sprung, a guy he's flown with once before.
This opportunity came up very last second, but I was able to free myself up and get here in a day's notice, essentially.
Stu's a far less experienced pilot with a fraction of the flying time Kerry's got under his belt.
Just about all set?
Yep.
So on this flight, there's no question who's in the driver's seat.
I've been chosen to be captain, or however we want to put that. So, you know, we're gonna be working as a team on this. All the decisions be basically mutual. But if push comes to shove and someone needs to make a decision, I guess that'll kind of fall to me.
Right.
Let's get out of here.
Right 360, 22, clear for takeoff, 608.
We got gas on the main. We got an undercarriage. We got mixture. We got props. Do you want to take off?
Sure.
Right away, Kerry gives Stu the chance to show his stuff.
I will get the gear. A little heavy. Your nose down. Gear coming up. Nose down, nose down, nose down, nose down. Okay, you got it?
Yep,
Got the controls.
They'll head first to the islands of Turks and Caicos, then fly another 8,000 kilometers south all the way down to Argentina.
Roger.
Roger, sounds so much more sexy down south.
But as they approach Turks and Caicos, Kerry spots trouble.
Boy, that gauge is kind of pegged.
Yeah, you're right. It's not vibrating.
I do not like that.
No, I mean, we're not at an extreme power setting at all.
The oil temperature gauge shows the right engine is running hot.
The right engine always does burn a little hotter.
Cylinder head is normal, and the oil temp is super hot. It's just not making any sense.
Still, it makes me nervous. I don't like a needle touching the red line. It's not that gauge. We can cook this engine in a heartbeat.
If the engine is overheating, it could set the whole plane on fire.
I want to get this thing on the ground. I don't want to screw around. That gauge is making me really nervous.
In Florida, two of Cory's other hired guns are heading out on a new mission.
It's an old beast.
It's an old POS.
Cory's putting them in an old beater and asking them to fly halfway around the world.
How about these blades? It's a little chunky.
Captain Pete Zaccanino is a test pilot, a guy who lives to fly.
I love designing airplanes. I love flight testing airplanes. I love flying airplanes. I love working on airplanes. I don't think there's a better career in the world.
This is one job that might change his mind.
Yeah, the DA's booths are pretty chapped up here.
Look at this stuff. It's old.
Welcome to the 70s, baby. Check it out.
Oh, Daddy. You are not exaggerating. Oh, dude, from here I can see those avionics. Ka-chunk, ka-chunk.
Probably half the LEDs are burnt out on it. Who knows?
This 32-year-old Piper Cheyenne has been sitting in the hangar for many months. Pete's counting on his buddy Brad White to help him out on what will be a long, tough flight.
We got an old junker airplane. We're crossing a huge amount of distance in a plane that hasn't been flown for months and months. And we're gonna be going through some totally hairy weather.
They have to fly the old bird from Florida to the Philippines, crossing the wilds of Alaska and northern Russia before making a final push over open ocean to Manila. No way are these guys starting their trip without a serious test flight.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready. I want to find problems during the test flight. That way I can get them fixed here, good maintenance shop. I just don't want the problems to happen in the most remote place in the planet.
Okay, everything is green, engines look good, fuel flow is normal.
When I show up to a new plane I haven't met before, it's me bonding with the airplane. It's that airplane proving that it's not going to kill me.
There's 1200. Rotate?
Yep. Yeah, that trim is a little funky.
Yes, it is.
Trim controls small flaps on the tail that are crucial for climbing and descending.
Man, that is weird.
And this trim is barely working.
Try getting yours trimmed up.
Yeah, it's sluggish.
Yeah, that could be a showstopper if we did lose trim and controllability.
That would totally suck.
Yeah.
A plane's trim can make the difference between life and death.
If the trim tab fails, that's a serious, serious situation. The aircraft could end up nose up vertical, nose down vertical, or upside down. All very hazardous scenarios.
Pete and Brad cut their test flight short.
I'll just start down. I'll just do it.
As the Cheyenne comes in for a landing, the trim decides to behave.
3 green, no red, full flaps, we're clear to land.
All righty.
But not many aviators grow old, flying unreliable equipment.
Well, we got a major trim problem. Yeah.
So until the problem's fixed, this old bird is grounded. "2,700 meters over Turks and Caicos.
From you out the field inside? Negative, not just yet. There's a part in the way.
The oil gauge is telling Kerry and Stu they have an overheating engine, so they're trying to land the Navajo as soon as they can.
Seatbelts, fuel pumps. Gear coming down.
Oh, man. Gotta be kidding me.
They're on final approach, but Kerry's not seeing the 3 green lights that indicate the landing gear is down and locked in position.
Come on, give me a green. We only have 2 lights. Ah, son of a... Dang it, dang it, dang it. All right.
Now they're in double trouble.
Cycle it again? Yeah, hang on. Purple Tower 608, we've got only 2 gear lights. We're going to do a 360 and recycle our gear. Okay, confirm you're going to do a 360? That's affirmative.
By jogging the wheels up and down, they're hoping the gear will snap and lock into place.
003. All right, come on, baby. Papa needs 3 green. 1, 2. Start up at the booth. Negative. Oh, wait. We got it. You had it twisted.
Looks like it was just a loose dimmer switch.
Okay, Purple Tower 60, we got 3 green. Okay, 3 green. 27608, you clear to land 1V10.
We are clear to land.
One problem solved. Now they just have to get the Navajos safely on the ground.
Yeah. Well, I am really happy that we have 3 actual wheels beneath us. Crashing is not good. Helicopter 6606. All right, leg 1 in the can.
While the plane's being refueled, they investigate.
Let's take a look at that engine. Yeah.
I'll record what these guys get on the fuel, too.
Yeah. Well, we're gonna see how much oil we got in this girl. See if that was possibly the problem.
If the oil's low, it would mean the engine really was overheating.
Well, I'm kind of liking what I'm seeing. I mean, it looks like we've got about 10 quarts. I don't know, we can put a couple in, but she's really not burning any oil. I don't see any obvious signs of overheating on the engine. You know, no, the cowling isn't discolored from overheating.
The worst case is that this is a bad sensor and we can't see what the oil temperature is. And, you know, it's a judgment call from here.
As near as I can tell, we're still good to go.
They're feeling optimistic until they realize how much fuel they used up on this first leg.
1, 2, 3, 400. 1, 2, 3. There's 500. You can keep the rest. I'm not liking the fuel burn. That burned a lot more gas than I thought we were gonna. It was just over 3 hours here. We only have 40 gallons left, and we were not running super hard.
They push on from Turks and Caicos to the Dominican Republic and on to Aruba. There, Kerry does some new fuel range calculations.
We gotta do a little checking.
And Stu calls Cory to keep him in the loop.
Our fuel burn, even at most lean, is way off on this thing, so we have to look at our legs again because our range is shorter, so it's not exactly the performer that we were hoping it would be.
Let me know how it goes. Have a safe flight.
Now their trip will take longer, so Kerry's keen to keep moving today.
I'd like to file our flight plan to Trinidad.
When you want to leave?
We're leaving soon, right now.
Right now, right away? Trinidad is closed.
You mean it's closed?
It's an official holiday, so you can't leave today.
That's crazy. All right, well, frustration level's running really high. As a ferry pilot, I love to put a lot of miles behind me every day. I just, 1,500, 2,000 miles a day, that's kind of standard.
They've flown less than half of that, and with nowhere to go, the day is suddenly over. Back up in Florida, Pete and Brad are even worse off. Stuck at 0 altitude and 0 speed, with a trim control they don't trust.
I'm eager to hear if we need parts for the plane.
Yep.
They're stuck with this Piper Cheyenne, an old bird in desperate need of a good mechanic.
I do not see anything binding or slipping in the actual mechanical control wheel.
You don't see that play where you gotta roll it an inch or two before it starts.
Yeah, but that's normal in some airplanes, especially when you have that electric trim.
All right, yeah, I've never seen that before. It's not very common. Flown a lot of different airplanes, never seen a loose one like that.
Well, I think that's normal for you to have a little play in your trim wheel. The maintenance manual says it's good. You're airworthy.
Gabe the mechanic thinks the trim is working fine, but he's not the one who'll be flying the plane 7,000 meters up in the air.
Mechanics have killed plenty of aircraft and their crew and passengers because they've made mistakes. Mechanics are humans and they make errors, just like pilots. There's some old going on in here. I just wanted to get a look at this system.
It's old, it's beat up, and who knows what's gonna surface today, tomorrow, halfway around the world.
Like it or not, their departure is set for 6 a.m. tomorrow.
Yeah, that's what I'm doing with this plane, is getting it to the Philippines. Yeah, I appreciate the help.
But as soon as they settle in to catch up on some calls, they get an urgent message from Gabe the mechanic.
I see him. I see what I think I see.
I see 2 puddles of liquid that is certainly not hydraulic. That is absolutely Jet A. Gabe, talk to us.
Yeah. Hey, how you doing?
This doesn't look good, buddy.
No, it's not good at all, actually. To be honest, the issue we're having now is we've topped off your left and right fuel tanks. Yeah. Tips and as well as the nacelle tanks. And this is your nacelle tank back here behind the engine. And what I see now is you have a leak coming, a fuel leak.
I see it.
Coming from your left-hand nacelle tank.
I see it.
And it's running down a wire bundle.
Oh, that's great.
That's horrible.
That's unbelievable.
The fuel's running down this wing pan right here, and it's coming into these drain holes in the bottom of the fuselage.
Dude, that's a huge fire hazard.
Huge fire hazard. It's coming down.
Holy horse.
What's the fix for this?
Our best bet, actually, is to get a professional in here. Fuel tank expert.
Most pilots are pretty good with a wrench, but when it comes to fuel problems, even the best like to delegate.
If the expert comes in tonight and discovers that we have a bad fuel tank, this trip is not happening.
Let's see what you got.
So it should be back here, huh?
Gabriel, he's gonna blow some compressed air in there, and then I'm gonna start looking around and see if I can see where this air is escaping from. Hold on, I just saw something right there. Okay, that tells me something.
That's money right there.
Right? See the bubble?
It's an old and reliable trick. Blow in some air and let the bubbles give away the leak.
The conduit right here is where the fuel's leaking, coming through.
Yeah, see it.
Lucky thing, Brad and Pete decided to fill up tonight instead of tomorrow.
If we'd fueled in the morning, we'd have put the fuel in, taken off, blasted off on our way, and been sitting there going, gee, why are we using up so much fuel at the very least? And in the worst case scenario, an onboard fire.
My confidence in this plane, every time it comes up 2 or 3 notches, it gets dropped down like 5.
At last, the fuel expert comes back with the verdict on the leak
A
repair.
little good news and some bad news. Yeah.
That's usually how it goes.
Yeah, well, it's aviation for you in the middle of the night. We got a nut plate, which is going to be relatively easy to fix. And then we have a probe. Looks like it's cracked. We'll have to get a new one, and really can't do much with parts right now until tomorrow morning.
So you're saying anywhere from a couple hours delay to maybe a full day?
I would be willing to bet you're probably looking at leaving the following day.
It's the same story every time. It's not your fault,
Just this gets so old.
Next morning, Pete and Brad head back to the hangar, hoping for good news on the parts.
Let's see if we can find Gabe. What's up, Gabe?
Hey, Brad.
Hey, good morning. What's the deal with this guy?
The good news is we did find a fuel probe in Florida.
Ah, very cool.
The bad news, unfortunately, is it's in northern Florida, and it won't be able to be here till tomorrow morning, guys.
Are you serious?
That's not gonna work. We need to get something.
I mean, that's a day and a half behind.
But we gotta figure out a solution, because this is getting ridiculous.
The best ferry pilots will do almost anything to keep flying, even if it means renting a plane and picking up the part themselves in northern Florida.
Yeah, hi. Wondering if you guys have some aircraft rentals?
Is that the best you can do? That's pretty steep.
That would be huge.
Pete has just caught a lucky break.
What's up, man?
Okay, I called my buddy. He said, no, don't worry about that. I'll fly over there to their airport, pick up the part, just have it ready, give me the details. Send it down to you guys, have it here tonight.
That's huge.
It is huge. Yeah, Jim's really hooking us up. All he wants is fuel. Pay for the fuel, don't worry about aircraft cost. On his way.
Aviation is a really small world, and Pete's pretty big in that small world, so it's not surprising that he's got people like that that'll help him out.
3 hours later, Pete's pal shows up with the missing part.
Hey, Jim.
Hey, Pete, it's you again. Hey, you made it.
Awesome.
There you go, buddy.
Thank you, sir. You really saved us, and that's a huge deal.
Thanks. Just the girls in town. Safe flight. We'll see you later. Check it out, dude.
Now you guys have to work your magic. We need that in tonight, test it, filled with fuel, and make sure it's good.
Looks like you guys will be getting out of here on time tomorrow.
Yes.
Down in South America, Kerry knows that the next leg of their flight can be deadly.
If we get to the point of no return and we're screwed, we're going to be looking for options.
It's almost 1,000 kilometers from Georgetown, Guyana, over non-stop Amazon jungle to Macapá, Brazil.
This is the long one, kind of the dangerous one, because there's no airports in between, nowhere to go. If we have a problem when we're out of range of either airport, we're going down in the Amazon. Y'all set, Stu? Let's do it. Then we get to test our survival skills.
They'll be pushing the absolute limit of the fuel range for the Navajo. It's already burning more than it should.
30 gallons an hour will give us maybe 45-minute reserve today, which is not even close to what I would like to have. If we have an engine problem and we have to dodge thunderstorms, we're gonna be in trouble. So we're really just kind of crossing our fingers on this one and going for it. 85 coming up.
I'll take the gear.
Gear up.
We got some time to make up. We do.
An airport holiday yesterday in Trinidad put them behind schedule. That's why they're gunning it today.
This thing is turbocharged. It goes a little faster, and we get just a little bit more range the higher we go. So, see what that does.
I say we just do it.
Hang on, a couple bumps. Woo! There we go.
The weather isn't doing them any favors.
These headwinds get any worse, we're screwed. That is slow. We got to be pushing a 35-mile headwind.
They're slowing down and using a lot more fuel than they'd planned.
That's not good. Keep an eye on that fuel pressure, because if that thing sputters while we're on approach, we gotta go to those boost pumps right away.
Okay.
36.6 miles. Come on, baby.
Now the engines are sucking in the tank's reserves.
I'm putting my shoulder harness on now. Probably not a bad idea. At least one of the engines should still be running by the time we get there, but they're running pretty low, so I really hope we make it. Oh, there we go. Good.
That's one engine sputtering.
Boost pumps on.
We have fuel pressure.
They managed to pump just enough fuel to the engine to keep it going.
Macapa Control, November 27608. Like priority landing, fuel critical. 23 miles from Macapa. Right aux tank's dead. Now we're on the right main tank, and that one doesn't have much gas in it either, so.
Kerry knows he has to nail the landing, because this time there's no second chance.
Come on. Okay, pre-landing checklist. Gas, not much on the fullest tanks. Undercarriage, down, 3 green, 1 in the window.
Fuel pumps on.
Mixture's fuel rich, fuel pumps on. Just a little bit more.
So I think we're high enough to glide in there now. If we lose an engine.
Yeah, if this quits now, I'm aiming right for the end of the runway. Coming full flaps. I think I got the runway made. Oh, man. Yes.
Ay. Nice.
Flaps, not the gear, the flaps. Boost pumps off. Woohoo! Back on the ground. Safe and sound.
It's been a while since I've been this happy to put my feet on the ground.
Yeah, no doubt. Let's see, buzz check. Not too bad.
That was intense, but the fact is we have possibly two more legs left today, and you got to have a clear head to do it. So we need to reset and try to get back in the air as soon as possible.
Stu and Kerry are still 4,000 kilometers from their delivery target in Argentina, with only 3 days to go.
All right. Cory made some promises to the new owners, and he's really counting on me to get it done and keep his promise for him. This plane needs to get down there fast.
4,000 kilometers north.
All right, you ready?
I'm ready.
The Cheyenne's fuel leak has been repaired, so Pete and Brad are finally taking off.
Departing runway 5. Takes caution for birds on us in the airport.
They have a giant marathon ahead of them, 16,000 kilometers, from the sandy beaches of Florida all the way to the Philippine jungles.
Yes, redoodle.
Next stop's only 8 hours away.
Today they'll fly 3,300 kilometers and stop in Utah to refuel. At least, that was the plan. Because now, the Cheyenne is showing her age all over again.
Got ice all over this windscreen and it sucks. I can't see anything. Nothing. No heater. See the heater? Nothing. There's no heater.
Up at 7,000 meters, the temperature outside drops to negative 30 degrees Celsius. And that cold is seeping into the cabin.
We got things freezing up. We got nuts and bolts freezing up. We got a windshield that won't defrost. It's just one thing after another.
Let me start making a list, dude, because this is crap.
Here, why don't we start here with the LEDs you said are burnt out?
Okay, LEDs. I'm gonna put heater / defrost, because
yeah, the defrost.
We have a multitude of avionics problems going on up here.
Yes.
Things that are in-op, they're not labeled in-op.
prop de-ice. I wonder if I should even go there.
Not now. Please don't do it.
If the de-icers don't de-ice the props, flying across Alaska and northern Russia will be a game of airborne Russian roulette. Because the icy conditions can shoot them down almost anywhere.
I have zero confidence in this aircraft right now.
Yeah.
I will not fly this at night. I will not fly this in the weather. I will not fly this into ice right now, period.
I'm pretty much on board with that.
As soon as this plane touches down, she's headed straight back to the hangar. With just 1/5 of the journey behind her and 13,000 kilometers to go. In Brazil, Kerry and Stu are down to a tight 2-day deadline to deliver the Navajo to Argentina. But Stu's just met a guy who can help them big time.
From Macapá to Foz do Iguaçu. Going this way, 1601. The direct was 15.
Yeah, 15 something, yeah.
Jonas is a Brazilian ferry pilot who's also delivering a plane to Argentina.
1545.
That's 3 legs.
Direct.
That's
You
3
can do
legs.
500 each.
He knows the back routes well, and he's offering to fly them over some shortcuts that'll save them a huge whack of time.
We really scored. Having a native to escort you is unbelievably lucky. So that's why I really love ferry flying. I love going to the small airports and meeting all the pilots. You know, I don't like going to big international airports and meeting bureaucrats. That's just painful. It's like getting a root canal.
Being able to fly to smaller airports, just get fuel, no flight plan, be on our way. It's huge. It's the biggest scoop of this whole trip.
What's your altitude at 2992?
Oh, there it is.
Just about 2,500. We got you.
See him?
Oh, yeah, I got it.
All right, we got you. Thanks. And you got the next airport on the GPS?
From Macapá, Jonas will take them to a tiny airport in Araguana, way off the beaten path. It's much more direct than the route Kerry and Stu had planned.
The other frequency now is 12345. That's the frequency for the airport? Yeah, that's the frequency for all uncontrolled airports.
Araguana. I never thought I'd make it here. Never knew it existed. There you go, beautiful.
Turn and burn, in and out.
Not a bureaucrat in sight.
The fastest stop of the entire trip. It's amazing.
For the first time since Stu and Kerry hit the clouds, they've got a decent chance of making good on Cory's promise to deliver this Navajo to its owner on time. Now all they have to do is keep up with their new friend. For 9 hours, Pete and Brad have pushed this limping Cheyenne across the Midwest.
Holy cow, my feet are, I think, frozen to the floor. And that's with a newspaper insulator.
Yeah, that floor is colder because I don't have the sun here now either.
Just add it to the list of the other stuff that the mechanics got to look at when we get to Utah.
Their Utah pit stop is home base for boss Cory Bengtzen. They can't wait to unload on him.
I'm looking forward to passing him the keys and saying, all right, we made it this far, it's yours.
Good luck, sucker.
Good luck, sucker. Now you can see what you gave us to drive halfway around the world.
Cory's waiting when they land,
You made it!
knowing he's about to get an earful.
We made it. How's the flight in?
It's got all kinds of weird quirks. There's problems with the avionics, the autopilot. There's no heat in it, so we're frozen.
I'm frozen right now.
The right windshield just turns to a sheet of ice. Pete's sitting there scraping it the whole flight.
Is that on new issues after the test flight?
Yeah. It's old and tired.
Cory has to get this delivery back on track. His pilots get paid, even for down days. It all comes out of Cory's $25,000 fee.
It just barely got off the ground and hasn't even made it halfway across the country yet. We're already experiencing some major issues. It's got me a little nervous.
With the help of Jonas, the Brazilian ferry pilot, Stu and Kerry have crossed this country in record time. And to their surprise, that means the Navajo flight is now ahead of schedule.
Yeah, we just landed down here in the Brazilian border at what is it? Fazigazul.
Only 3 hours from delivery, they need Cory to confirm the drop-off point.
Got refueled, and we're just giving you a call to see what the latest is.
Perfect. They would like you to continue to a private airstrip in Rosario. There will not be customs at this airstrip. I'm showing you the coordinates right now.
To these guys, landing without clearing customs sounds dodgy.
Do they have this covered with the government already, or are we, because that's an illegal landing.
I understand where you're coming from, and I can answer that question for you. It might be best if you guys give Franco a call directly. Any dilemmas or problems or changes, please give me. Okay, guys, all right. Thank you very much.
Yep, bye.
That sounds like the craziest thing to happen the entire trip.
Entering a country without clearing customs, well, I don't know what they call it in Argentina, but it's a felony in the United States.
And as pilots, we definitely have to follow some very specific rules, especially if we want to stay pilots, for one, and not go to jail, too.
They've pushed themselves to the limit the last 6 days. They're only 1,000 kilometers from the finish line, but they refuse to risk everything for Cory's client.
I'm not going into that private strip, no matter what he says. That's just stupid. We'll get busted. Nah.
It doesn't take long for the owner to come up with a new game plan.
I mean, we will try to take off earlier, but we still have to clear customs and immigration, pay landing fees, flight plan. Okay, that will work. Thank you, Franco. Bye-bye. He's gotten rid of the dirt strip behind his buddy's plantation or something, who knows what it was. So now we're going to the international airport, we're getting customs, everything's great, so very cool.
Back on track.
With a squeaky clean and legal landing all lined up, Stu and Kerry start off on the last leg of their trip.
I will get the gear.
Finish line, now just 3 hours away. Back up north in Utah, Brad and Cory are trying to sort out some of the problems with the Cheyenne.
And we're gonna double check that heater and all the de-icing stuff and make sure it works.
Ice-cold temperatures in the cockpit on the first leg of the trip could be an ominous warning of a more serious problem.
Seeing if it's gonna heat up.
If there's no heat hitting the propellers or wings, even the thinnest layer of ice can alter the aerodynamics.
Nothing on this, Brad.
Enough to turn the Cheyenne into a kamikaze dive bomber.
Well, we've got some pretty major issues. I'm gonna have to call the owner. He's gonna be super frustrated, but these are just out of our control. Part of the challenge of ferry flying, especially older planes like this, if something can break, it will break. Hello, Edwin. It's Cory Bengtzen with CB Aviation. How are you? We've got some pretty major problems with the airplane. It's just absolutely not safe for these guys to continue on how it is.
For now, the Cheyenne is Cory's problem.
We'll get you briefed on the safety, the seat belts.
Cory isn't the only one based in Utah.
The parachute.
Pete lives here too. And so does his personal training jet, the Aero L39 Albatross.
Couple things. Throttle, you know what that is. Fuel on and off. Don't touch that, please.
Okay.
This jettisons the canopy. We pull that handle all the way down. Canopy will just fly away. Grab the handle and release it, and the parachute will open. Handle.
That one forward.
Boom.
Upside down, we're out.
Yep.
I'm totally pumped. I'm not sure what to expect, but the plane looks awesome.
Brad's flown a few jets, but he's never been taught what to do when that jet's out of control in the wrong position.
This is super important training. Every pilot should do it. It just teaches you how to recover an airplane if it's upside down, if it's nose straight up, nose straight down. It kills a lot of pilots.
Here we go, huh?
Answering eyes on the vertical up to 7,000.
Very cool.
Pretty sweet, huh?
Yeah, it is. I love the view, too. How much did you load it up there when you pitched up to 45?
About 3 Gs.
That was awesome, dude.
Okay, you got the aircraft?
I've got it.
Okay, pull aileron left or right.
Oh, sorry.
That's okay, that's all right. Sweet, roll it out level. Isn't that cool?
Woohoo! I'm digging it.
Are roll inverted. I'm gonna float it down to the horizon. That's about good. Now roll back.
Dude, how cool is that?
Isn't that bitchin'?
That's bitchin'. Yeah, that was awesome, dude.
Pretty cool, isn't it?
Yep.
That's a good sign right there. I could feel it when we were loading up a little negative.
Yeah.
Like when we're coming through, that's when I was just like, whoa. All right, I earned the hat then. All right.
Pretty sweet, wasn't it?
That was sweet, man.
Yeah.
God, I can't believe how it flies.
It's cool.
It's so easy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It makes it easy.
Yep.
It's been a great break from flying the Cheyenne. But by this time tomorrow, if Cory manages to get the heater working, these two pilots will be sky high, back in the old bird again, where almost anything can happen.
There's gotta be a ticker tape parade here. I want to see streamers, confetti guns. There it is. Woo!
After 3 hours of smooth sailing, Stu and Kerry are about to make good on Cory's promise and deliver the Navajo on time. They've made it all the way from the United States through South America to Argentina in only 6 days.
You're coming down. 110. Got it. 105. Got it. Oh. Touchdown! Woo-hoo. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the Navajo to Rosario.
After 9,000 kilometers in the air, pushing the Navajo to the limit, it's finally home.
Hola, ¿cómo está? Muy bien. We're here, us in the plane, we're here in one piece, it's good. Nice job, dude.
All right, man.
Killed it.
Woo. I'm feeling pretty good. It was a long and tough one, that's for darn sure, but feels good to get the plane in the owner's hands and turn your back on it, go home.
Pete and Brad know the Cheyenne will never fly like yesterday's L-39 jet. But Cory and the mechanic did get the prop de-icers working.
Hey, John, what's the word?
Hey, Brad. Hey, Pete. We found that there was a couple of loose ground wires to the de-ice boots on the props. So we tightened those up, did another test, and everything worked.
The safety problem is out of the way, but that's small comfort because the cabin is still cold as a beer cooler.
We need the heater. It's way too cold and we got way too long to go, so.
So we're doing a little troubleshooting here to try and figure out what in the system is not working.
Hey, John, I'm feeling heat on the floor. Oh, yeah, the floor's getting warm. Yeah, it's totally working fine. That's great news.
That's totally good news. Man, it's pumping like crazy.
It feels great.
Yeah, that's a relief.
The last thing on their list is the avionics, the electronic systems that control many of the aircraft's mechanical functions. With so many things breaking down, Pete and Brad have never had time to test them properly.
Ready?
I'm ready.
But this time, they can't even get off the ground.
Oh. I got a reverser lock light, and I have this flickering.
This is really strange. We got that beta light flashing.
It's a light that indicates the propellers are in the beta range, which is the reverse. And having the engine allow the propeller to go into reverse inflate is extremely hazardous.
See if he answers it Sunday. And he doesn't know my number.
This is Cory.
Hey, Cory, it's Brad and Pete. How you doing?
What's going on, boys?
The plane is giving us an indication that there's something wrong with the beta on the left engine.
Good plan of action.
John is on it right now. Cory's got the maintenance manual out, and it's repeating the problem, so it's not intermittent.
We'll just keep you updated.
Okay, perfect.
All right, see ya. You know what? I mean, this is no joke. I don't have 3 months to go limping across the planet with this thing.